Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the True North podcast. I'm your host, Scott. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who is joining and who might be participating and all that. Now, today's show, we're just going to go into talk about a little bit of everything. How's that? Instead of specific things, because that's what the podcast is all about. Having an opportunity to talk about different things other than what my main deal is with is cigars. Which it's right here, the Compass Rose. Now it's called the Onyx Edition based off of me. But I'm a Navy veteran. Go by, I have a nonprofit, which is called the True North Foundation Incorporated. It's for veterans, mental health, homelessness, first responders. Goes for seizures, PNES, epilepsy, autism, cancer, kidney disease, Alzheimer's, a wide variety of things. Now, with that being said, now I have a few people, probably a couple people that will be coming on and joining us in a little bit. Now, there's someone out there. Okay, they're great people, but they're out there a little bit. But I love them to death. They are in the cigar industry. They are, I would say, cigar aficionados. They know what they're doing and all that. So it's going to be impressive. And a little bit of surprise is, hey, they wrestle. Whoa, let's hear some noise. Sorry, I get tongue-tied. But how exciting is that? Wrestling. You get a little bit of different things that happen, okay, and that we get to talk about. So, and we get to talk about different aspects of life. How's it been going through it? Has it been a really good experience? What's life thrown roadblocks at you? Anything like that? But it's trying to get to know a person or people. So I'm trying to introduce them into this community. But I do have a little treat for you guys. If you do go on my Instagram page, I created what's called Saturday Night Live Roast. Yes, I said it, a roast. Comedy at its finest. Now, for that, you go on there. The one who's hosting is the roastee. You all jump in the windows. There's about 3 boxes. You hop in there. You get about 5 minutes. You roast them. Now, when I'm saying roasting, it's all in good, clean fun, having a great time, okay? But the bigger picture is when you roast, you donate at least $1 to the True North Foundation Incorporated. And that's my part. But again, it's about giving back to our communities, helping those in need, and basically advocating for people who can't advocate for themselves. That's what it's all about. And that's what I stand for. So I have good people like you see H that comes on. He's a really good person as well. He's a veteran. Introduced me to this lovely, military broadcast radio station, which is amazing. And I'm grateful for that opportunity, number one, because it's very fun to do that and have an opportunity to do this stuff and to get to meet different people. Because trust me, I've met all kinds of different people. you wouldn't expect that. Let's put it this way. Like for me, I've got the great and humbled opportunity, honored to meet greats like Major Ed Hart of Heart of a Lion Foundation, Ray Kashkar, former Navy SEAL. Oh my God, there's just so many. Jason Koloski of Watchtower Firearms, Kristen Ert out of Dugout Mugs and Big Golf. Hey, that's just to name a few. And then you got people like us, cigar brand owners. They make them. I mean, it's a unique, it's a classy industry. It has that stereotype. But again, we're here to bring different, how do you say, outside views into it. Instead of always, how can I put it in a mild term and all that, the people who have already made it in the industries, and that goes for any industry, really, to be honest with you, that are sitting way up there, but sometimes they get a little bit lost and forget about where they came from. And that's where I come in. It's kind of like, if you think about it, like a journalist. I love it because it's like being a journalist. You get to sit there and talk to different people, find out their story. Because I'll tell you what, everybody's got a story. Everybody does. Some are really freaking interesting, let me tell you. Like you just sit there and go, wow, I can't believe this stuff. This is crazy. You actually did all this stuff. Again, stories. It's pretty cool, huh? Exactly. So again, I'll introduce myself. My name's Scott. I am the CEO and founder of the Compass Rose. I also have, obviously, the True North podcast. Then I have the True North Foundation Incorporated. So again, these are really, really cool things that I get to do. And I'm very appreciative over it. Yes, Shannon, everyone has a story. 100% right. Sorry I didn't see it just popped up. But yeah, everybody has a story. So what's your story? See, that's the fun part about this. Come talk to me. Let's hear your story. That's what the military broadcast station is about giving veterans a voice. Because you know what? A lot of the times we get silenced or we don't know how to talk. Nobody's there for us. We think that we're alone, when in actuality, we're not alone. But it's reaching out and connecting with somebody, or reaching out even just talking to someone, say, hey, if you need some help, shoot me a text, give me a call. I got you. I got your six. Now that is worth $1,000. That's like $1 million right there. You couldn't ask for anything better than that. And the two guys I'm about to bring on, and probably in a little bit, they're two different characters. They're in the wrestling industry and they're in the cigar industry. Now, when I say cigar industry, they're pretty much like father. It's a father-son tag team here. So this is a really good tangible, people. Think about this. It's an awesome thing. They love cigars. They're cigar aficionados. They know about cigars. They smoke cigars. Son, he's actually he works for a company who manufactures my cigars of the Compass Rose. He's a sales director. So that's really cool. But wrestling, what can you say about wrestling? I used to love wrestling. And not so much nowadays, because I had my idols back in the day. Yeah, you had your Hulk Hogan, Mean Gene Okerlund, you had Macho Man Randy Savage, a lot, Roddy Piper, The Sheik, come on, King Kong Bundy, Andre the Giant. Those were fun times, right? Heck yeah, they were awesome. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Then you have the newer age where you have The Rock. You have someone like Stone Cold Steve Austin that comes in with a whole different attitude. But it's fun. It's cool. It's exciting. So if anybody has any questions, please just ask. And I will be sure to answer them. And I have not yet quite my lovely wife. I won't bring her on. I'm not going to throw her under the bus. Hint, hint. There is a discount code for MBR. It just hasn't gotten put in there yet. And it's for 10%, but it'll be up there. You can use, you have to type MBR for my cigars. You go on my website, which is www.thecompassrosetruenorth.com. But make sure you type in MBR so I will know it's you and I will give you 10% discount. It will be honored. And you can get yourself a 3-pack for $32.50. Premium cigars. Hell, with premium packaging. It's very nice, very elegant, and don't throw them away because they are reusable. Okay? It holds the 3 cigars. They come in Maduro or Habano. Very nice. Very elegant. I love it. I get confused now. Where was I at? Oh yeah, I lost track. See, I'm just freaking blabbing and talking, and I think that's what I'm supposed to do, right? This is my show. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
No, I'm having fun. This is what it's about. But I need people. I love people. Come on, people. Ask some questions. You know what? Yeah.
Total Talk text line is open 720-619-0627. Call if you have a story or if you want to get something off of your mind. Until the 2 VIP guests show up, Scott, did you want to go to a video real quick, or did you want to keep marching on?
If you don't mind, we will go to a commercial break.
All right. With that being said, everybody, you're listening to the station that's giving veterans a voice. You're listening to MBR, and here's the first commercial break for the day.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports. Driver, start your engine!
Shootout, one more life.
pushing that red line. Let's push it. Pushing that red line, right up and cut into the inside stands, rushing by with a roar and a blink of an eye. Ain't gonna take it slow, got 500 miles to go, living this life one lap at a time. Pushing the red line, yeah, pushing the red line.
Welcome back. Now, without further ado, I have two couple guests and all that. We're playing. The first one is Joey V, and then you have Boss. That is his father. And there he is right there.
There we are.
Welcome aboard.
What's up, guys? What's going on?
There we go. So, how's everything going today, man?
Fantastic.
Outstanding. I was telling people about introducing you, it's like, man, this is freaking absolutely fabulous. I got two guys. Not only are they in, cigars and all that as basically cigar aficionados, but wrestlers.
Yes. We are men of many trades, as you call it.
And that's like exciting and all that. We have a whole bunch of different things on wrestling and all that, but you guys actually lived it. Especially, I told them, listen, you got a tandem of father and son right here. That doesn't normally happen very often.
No, absolutely not. And if it does, it's very few and far between that it's able to happen that way.
I think it's exciting. So again, I will hand it over to you and your father and all that to introduce your guys' selves. I said Joey V and Boss, father and son tandem. You can't get better than that.
No, you can't. And guys, it's funny because that wasn't even supposed to happen. That wasn't supposed to be like that. I wasn't actually ever supposed to ever debut. That was something that was always just a dream of mine to do. Having been around it since I was a kid and, being around the business and watching it growing up, being a fan, that wasn't supposed to happen that way. It was just something that was, always in that dream realm for me. And, he had retired probably, I want to say 15 years ago.
About 20.
About 20 years ago, I apologize. 20 years ago, he retired, and he was never supposed to come out of retirement. He was never supposed to come out of retirement. It was just something that he said, oh, one more match. But, it was one of those, it'll never happen. And the phone call came, what was it, last year or 2 years ago in May? Last year in May, it came. It was supposed to be, the show was supposed to be in August, and then it got moved to October. And, I just said, yeah, whatever, fine. It's not going to happen because I think the date had gotten moved like 2 times by that point. And, I just kind of was like, yeah, whatever. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, hey. It's just things. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, hey, listen, you know what? it is what it is. And then May rolled around, August rolled around, June rolled around. You know, all the months the show was supposed to happen, and then finally it came, and the graphics got released for the show. And then it was one of those, okay, you know what? This is real. This is gonna happen, and you know, it's on, and you're gonna go along for the ride. And you know, the biggest thing for me was it being it wasn't even it was my first match. The biggest thing for me was I get to team with my dad, who I watched growing up. You know, who growing up, I was not only, you know, he was like the biggest person, larger than life for me, because it was, you know, he is a wrestler, but, you know, he's my dad. You know, I get to go with him. I get to meet all these people. And you know, it was just when that time came and it was like, okay, you know what? Now I'm stepping into your shoes. And like I've told everybody from the beginning with this, I'm never going to have the opportunity to do half of the stuff he did. I'm never going to be able to fill his shoes. You know, and the name that we used for the tag team of the Untouchables was a name that him and his best friend, who was his partner for 20 plus years, used. His partner passed away, who was, what was it, 5-10 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
He passed away about 10 years ago. And, you know, when they were looking for a name, I kind of said to him, why don't we use that? And I called my cousin and I was like, you know, hey, listen, I want to use your name. I want to use the name. I'm never going to fill your dad's shoes. I said, I'm not trying to. I said, because again, I'll never be able to do that. But,
Right.
you know, I'm like, I'm going to give it my best shot and maybe not fill his shoes, but kind of make my own mark along with you know, with them as the team. And, you know, he was like, absolutely. He goes, you know, you got me behind you 110%. He goes, and anything you need, you know, you can always call me. And, you know, I actually, so that happened in October. It was actually a very interesting show. Not only, you know, was it my debut, but I actually had a few good friends of mine there. I got to work with some legends that I knew from growing up in the independent wrestling scene in the Northeast, which was probably the coolest part of the whole thing. You know, guys that I had met previously from doing commentary or anything else like that. You know, I finally got to share the locker room with these guys and, you know, got to go out there just like they did and tear the house down. And tear the house down, literally we did. There may or may not have been a hole put in the wall by accident. You know, and thankfully, you know, I had, like I said before, I had a good friend of ours there who's like a brother to me, in Alan from Family by Loyalty. I had him, his wife, his business partner, and his business partner's wife at the show. You know, and he made it all the way from the city out to Bayville, New Jersey, just to come see us. Just to come see us wrestle in person. You know, and that was a cool experience that, you know, I sent him the link for the tickets. He went on and bought them. And he calls me and he's like, okay, now if you don't wrestle, I'm gonna be really upset. And, I mean, he bought tickets. He got there. He didn't get there for the whole show, but he got there right when it mattered, right before the match started. So he got to witness, you know, everything I did that night, and almost became a part of the show at that point, because one thing led to another. We brawled down the hallway and he just happened to be in the way of a wall that I was thrown into. So him and his wife almost became part of the show. Thankfully, I had enough, you know, he had enough timing, and so did I, to kind of guide them out of the way, because I really didn't want to hurt them. So I kind of shoved them on my way to hit that wall, so this way they wouldn't get hurt, you know, because again, I love Alan to death. That dude is, you know, a fantastic guy, you know, and for him to do that was huge.
I got my biggest question and all that, and haven't seen your father on here and all that. So what is this actually?
I'm here. I'm listening. I'll let my son talk. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
I'm going to bring something out. Give me a few minutes.
Well, now I have to wait for a second because that was that question, like for both of you, because I'll ask you for this question. So when your father comes back, I'll ask him. Okay.
Okay.
With all your years of following your father and all that and being able to be part of it and sharing those experiences as a kid, right? As an idol, because you always look up to it. And when you had that moment, that exact moment when, well, even hearing about it, that you have an opportunity to wrestle against your father. And then that's one question. What was it like for that experience? But then the second question, part 2, is when it actually happened, what was it like for you then? For yourself?
So, it was, so to answer your first question, it was when I got the phone call, I was actually at work. The guy who booked us, Magic, who is like the biggest icon on the Northeast scene of professional wrestling, who he wrestled with for, again, 20 plus years, called him, because he had reached out a while ago and said, hey, listen, I want to wrestle one more match.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always, you call your friends who are promoters, we'll see. You're kind of old, you're not there yet, whatever. And Magic called him and he said, I want to bring you in. He said, but I want you as a team. He said, I want you and I want your son. So I'm at work. I got the phone call. In May, I got that phone call of, hey, do you want to do this show? And again, being me and wanting to do it for so long and having the opportunity to team alongside him, was a no-brainer for me. I called him. I'm like, call him back, call Magic and tell him, yeah, it's done. Consider it completely, totally done. Let's do it. So he called him and I actually reached out to him myself. I said, listen, bro, we're good. I said, lock us in. Give me the date. I said, just so I could take off of work so I know I'm good. And to answer the second question, to what was it like? At first, when I got there, when we left on the show was a Saturday? Yeah. We left on Saturday morning. We went to Seaside because that's where we stayed for the night because we rent hotels there all the time.
Yeah.
So I called the Sunburst where I stay. And, I called them. I said, hey, listen, I need a room. I'm coming down for a show. Not a problem, Joe. You got it. Call me back. Reserve the room. I reserved it. We got down there at 11-ish. I want to say we got down there about 11 o'clock. And it still didn't seem real to me. You know what I mean? Like, I knew what I was there to do, but it still didn't seem real. Nothing kicked in. No nerves, no nothing. And just kind of sat there. I walked around the hotel room. I packed my stuff up because I looked at the hotel because we haven't been there in a couple of years. So I saw, the renovations he did. And I think it was just my way of keeping my mind occupied, not to think about, what I have to do. And then I kept looking at the time and I'm like, I'm going to take a nap. And then I looked and I was like, yeah, I'm going to take a nap, whatever. And then I was kind of like, time got closer and closer. And we had to be at the building by 3? We had to be at the building by 2:33. It's now, mind you, it's now 1 o'clock. He's outside having a cigar, talking to my mom. I'm in the room just kind of, sitting there playing on my phone, keeping my mind occupied because, it started to get real, but not that real. I got it. Even when we got to the building, I looked around, it was kind of like, okay, and being a fan of wrestling growing up, those little halls like the Elks Lodge, even the ECW arena on the corner of Swanson and Rittner in Philly, those are the arenas I grew up watching. I went to the shows in the high school gyms and the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, and I did all that. What are you looking for? No, I didn't. No, mine's right here. And, I kind of did, where am I? Like, to me, it was like, okay, you know what? Everybody started out, and in my head, I said one of the best companies that, eventually folded was ECW, started out in a little hall like this. So we're at the building and I'm walking around. I see the ring. I walk over. I lean on the ropes. I walk outside. I walk around. And I'm sitting down and I'm drinking my Bang, you know, getting my energy ready to go. And I'm sitting there and it's still not really real. You know, like it's still like yeah, I'm here, but you know what? It's not happening. Like, did I have butterflies? Yes, but it didn't seem real at that point.
Right.
You
I get
know,
it.
we had the meeting before the show about, you know, be safe, guys. Because the big thing is when we go out there, we all want to come back the same way we walked in.
Right.
You know, we walked in safe and in one piece, we want to leave in one piece. You know, and it was just kind of going over the rules of what the venue was allowing and what they weren't, you know, because of course you got guys like us who want to brawl and throw a beer in somebody's face and, you know, hit water at somebody. Just saying.
Right. Just saying.
Put a hole in the wall by accident. Hey, listen, I mean, you know, it's wrestling. It happens. And again, it still didn't seem real. I've seen a few people that I know. One of the ring announcers that's big on the independents for GCW right now. He was there. I talked to him, shook his hand. Nothing seemed real. The card went up in the back of the lineup for who was, you know, what match was where intermission was, just so we know. And it was like, okay, my name's on the paper. All right, that's good. It didn't start to hit me until I finished taping my wrists and my hands, and the card went up. The guys in the match before us came back, and I said, okay. I hit the butterflies hit, the adrenaline hit, the nervousness hit, you know, and it was like, this is real. Now, we had no idea when this match started that we were the first guys out of the back. We had not a clue. Like not even remotely clue, like nothing. So we're standing there and we're figuring, okay, you know, the guys who are supposed to be you know, the big stars in the match since the other team backed out, you know, we figured the thrown together teams were going to go first. And then the other team and then maybe us or us and then the other team who eventually wound up winning that match. And you know, we're standing there and nobody's telling us who's going out and the music hits and we both looked at each other and I just went, in my head, I looked at myself. I said, okay. I said, it's time. You know, and that's when it got like, you know, that's when
it's real. It's real.
Right. But it's true. And I've spoke to a lot of guys in the business, friends of mine, you know, and they're like, it gets real once you hit that. They said, once your music hits, you know, in your debut, it becomes real. And it did. I mean, it became like, holy crap, like it's time to go. You know, and the best part was about that whole night, besides the match, was nobody in that company knew who we were. We remotely, the only guys that knew us were the guys he wrestled with, like Magic, Crazy Ivan, you know, and a few of the other guys who we had just run and crossed paths with on the card. And nobody knew who we were, and our music hit, and we got the loudest boo in unison from the crowd. They did not like us. You know, so naturally looking at us, it's like, okay, well, you know, our intention wasn't to go in as the bad guys or the heels, but sometimes, as the saying goes, you know, life give you lemons.
Right.
So what do? You make lemonade. You come out as an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it just kind of fit the overall persona of the team from, well, the new adaptation of the team or new iteration of the team with the two of us, you know, because my whole thing was the street fighter kind of deal, you know, from New York.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the entrance music played into it, the way I carried myself, what I wore. You know, I wrestled for my first match was a cutoff t-shirt, a pair of basketball shorts, and a pair of Nikes. You know, I mean, they're like, what was that? Why did you do that? I said, well, think about it. I said, in New York, it doesn't matter what you wear when you fight. It's whatever you got on. So, you know, that kind of played a part in it as well. And then when they booed me, it just kind of, it made everything real and it was solidified. Like, I am the bad guy. I am
Gotcha.
I am the bad guy. Like, they don't like me, so hey, guess what? Let's play into that. And like I said before, I spoke to so many friends of mine in the industry. All their biggest thing to me was you need to feed off that crowd. Because at the end of the day, that crowd is who you want to please. You want to send the crowd home happy. And
Absolutely.
if by them seeing me get my ass kicked, I mean, listen, you know what? As long as they go home happy, that's
You're
how I
winning.
look. I did my job.
Yes.
We did that brawl. They cheered. They watched the brawl. I did my job that night. I garnered the fans' attention. That was the biggest thing, is I captivated those fans from the time I walked out till the time I went out the side door after getting thrown through it. I had those fans' attention because, to be honest with you, and I know you've watched it, Scott, because I've sent it to you. If you watch that video, the finish of that match was the two guys winning, but where were the fans' attention? Where were their eyes? Down that hallway.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, you know what? That is something that not only the company should take a look at, but the guys in that match should take a look at. And I'm not saying anything bad about these guys, because a lot of these guys have way more experience than I did. But if you look at the four of us, which was me and my dad and Big Rock and E. Millie, what did we do? We took that crowd and we made them feed out of the palm of our hands for that match. Mm-hmm. Everything we did, they were like, holy crap, these guys are really killing each other. We hit the floor, and I mean, they were like, and nobody was watching the match. Everybody was watching us. And then when we started brawling, nobody was finishing up the match. Everybody was watching us. Because what a lot of guys don't understand, and I'm not saying just in the business, some guys don't. And again, I'm nobody. I'm nobody. I'm still a new guy. But I think from having the amount of, knowledge I've had and the guys who I've spoke to, and not only that, as a fan, what does everybody like? Everybody likes a good old-fashioned fight.
Absolutely.
Everybody likes a good old-fashioned brawl. So where is everybody's wrestling fan going to go? Everybody's eyes are going to go like this to wherever that brawl is. Because at the end of the day, they want to see. I'm going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that too. The new show just came out. Speaking of the guys that won, the new card just came out for their new show, and it's those guys versus the original two guys that the match was supposed to come down to with us. My question is, and I've said this, I never lost that match.
Yeah, but they don't want us back.
Well, that's a whole nother issue for a whole nother day, but maybe we'll get into that on this one. But my thing is I never lost that match. We never lost. So rightfully, we have a shot at those titles. But the company that we worked for has now been sold to the sister company.
Okay.
And the sister company is not a big fan of the Untouchables and the Vanilla Gorilla and the Big Dog because of the brawl that happened in the hole that got put in the wall. And that's just a whole nother shouting match that happened outside the venue that did not and should not have been handled like that. And would I work for them again if they paid me right? Yeah. And if they gave me a shot at the titles, absolutely, I would come in.
But I want people to understand. I mean, hop in here, and this is the point of the show. We're having a great conversation. Your dad, he's an inspiration for a lot because he gets to show you different things and do this walk together. Okay.
Right.
But what I want the audience to know is to get to know Boss and know Joey. You guys had a lot of adversity. You being a son, Boss being a wrestler for many, many years. We'll get into that. But also the adversities that he had to deal with, which also you dealt with and the rest of your family had to deal with your mother. I want people to understand who you are and what you guys have accomplished where you guys are at now. Like Joey, now Oh my good God! Now you work for Tampano Cigars, who makes my cigars. There's so much. You guys are in the wrestling world. You got to commentate. You got to wrestle with your father. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a story you're trying to introduce so that people can know who you guys are. And like I said, I really respect your father and all that because he's a lot older, but he's been through the system, but he's gone through it so much and through the adversity. I respect that highly because he had to pretty much put his career aside. But I'll let you talk, boss. I thank you for coming on, guys.
Absolutely.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So my name is Boss Dog in the cigar world. In the wrestling world, my name is Big Dog.
Oh, wow.
So this picture's over 25 years old.
That's awesome.
Had hair, looking good as I did, 555 pounds. Traveled all over the world. Been with all the big stars, Rikishi, The Undertaker, King Kong Bundy, Tito Santana, Johnny Rods, Pete McKay,
Homicide,
Homicide,
Amazing Red, Eddie
Amazing
Kingston.
Red, Eddie Kingston, and nobody realizes I trained Eddie Kingston in my gym in Yonkers before I shut it down. So that part of my life, that's when I first met my wife at the time, was my girlfriend. She actually stuck with me. I started training in Dallas, Texas, at the Sportatorium, which is now a Target. That's where I met.
This over. I'm gonna step away.
That's where I met Maniac Matt Bourne, The Undertaker, who was wearing a mask, Danny Spivey. I can go on and on, but I'm not here to call my accolades.
Right.
I am who I am, and if you don't like me, it's like I tell people, I really don't care. I'm not here to be liked.
But you're natural. You're original, boss. You are very, very.
I haven't been liked my whole life by people, and you know what? To this day, I really don't care. So, even in the wrestling world, man, you have those that like you. You have a clique, and you have no clique. I've wrestled in New England. I've wrestled in Canada. I've wrestled in Ghana. I've wrestled in Africa all over. I've traveled the world, and that's what I tell people. People see us sit behind these screens, and they really don't know the whole scoop behind you.
Right.
I'm a family of 9. There was 9 of us. My mother raised us singly. I was a thug. Not only am I big in the wrestling world and the cigar world, I'm big in the music world. I know the Locks, Mary J. Blige, Heavy D and the Boys, DMX,
who uses our
Julie Torres, Naomi. I worked in many clubs in the city. So I've been around in my whole life, and people don't realize I'm 53 years old, and I can still go with the best of them. Now, in the cigar world, I do a lot of stuff with Drew Estate. And when I say a lot of stuff, I mean we do a lot of events with them. I'm smoking Velvet Rat right now, by the way.
Nice.
I got many accolades. I got many things. I had shirts that I put out. Then my wife got sick, so I'm working on that again. In the process of trademarking a few things. I can't say it out here because it's not done yet. More things better to come. But working with my son on that show was absolutely terrific. If that's my first and last show with him, so be it. It is what it is. He started smoking cigars with me, and he started wrestling with me. So what else can I ask for? You know what I mean?
Started commentating with you too.
Commentating, You know,
which again wasn't a planned thing as well. That was just kind of something that I was thrown into at the time. Because the owner of the company was supposed to have a match that night, and he said the original plan was, you know, he was going to commentate with my dad because again they've been doing it however long, and then he was going to wrestle. So I said to him, "Hey, listen, I got a shirt. While you go do your thing, let me hop in, take over for you." And you know, the first show we went, he commentated the first show with another guy, and I was putting wristbands on people, and I was
actually,
kind
I
of
did the ring announcing.
no, not for Jimmy.
No, not for
No, I'm talking about Jimmy.
Oh.
And he commentated the first show for him. I was doing wristbands and kind of security, making sure the people stayed away from the wrestlers when they went over the rail. And then the second show was the, hey, I got my shirt in my bag. You know, this way when you go do your thing, you know, I'll slide in, you come back, I'll slide out. Just like the show when we wrestled, I was kind of not thrown into the ring because I knew, but again, kind of thrown in like, you know, as the bad guy, as nobody knew, I had to go in and make a statement. And the opportunity was, he turned to me, hey, I said, yeah, what's up, Troop? He goes, oh, by the way, you're not commentating just the one match. He goes, you're in there the whole night. Oh, okay. There's also a message on the side for you, Scott. I didn't know if you saw it.
It's all good, but tell people what you guys got going on for the future. What's coming out now? What's getting ready? The show
in the future. We've already got some designs worked up for the I guess if you want to call it, if you listen to the podcast on Spotify and stuff like that, the logo picture or the cover of the podcast, it's going to be called Turnbuckles and Stogies. It's myself, my dad, and the OG cigar tender. And at some point when, you know, things line up for us, we're going to have our fourth co-host on. It can be from the beginning. It cannot be. In Kinzua Cigar Club, which is Kyle. And this podcast just came about from, you know, just the three of us. You know, it really all started with me, OG, and Kinzu just getting on a live or a private call, you know, late at night, smoking cigars, because it was one thing led to another. We'd start off on a cigar conversation and go right into wrestling because they are two big wrestling fans. So, you know, it was just kind of something that organically happened between the three of us. And then we brought my dad on because I said, you know, me and OG were talking one night, and I'm like, listen, why don't we bring him on? Because, you know, not only does he have more experience than me, you know, he knows a lot more people and he's been around longer. So he knows a lot of what's going on today or how a lot of the stuff today became about. You know, I said, and a lot of the guys today, like,
I got to say one thing. Shout out to the greatest hardcore legend. He passed away. Shout out to my man Terry Funk. I take my hat off to you, my brother.
79 years old.
See you up in the big squared circle, my man. We're not going to say goodbye. I'm going to say I'll see you later.
I'll see you later. Absolutely. I mean, that's another one that, you know, as a kid growing up, when I got a chance to see him, whether I got a chance to see him I was actually at a show for the House of Hardcore that was run by Tommy Dreamer. We were in the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, and I'd never really seen Terry Funk wrestle that much in person.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I'd never gotten to see Terry Funk, but I always admired Terry Funk for the things he did in the industry. Because what a lot of people don't understand is, you know, and I know it's a little off topic from the podcast, but it all kind of ties in because this is how this podcast came about. It was for the love of the wrestling. It was for the love of the cigars, and it just organically happened, you know, and kind of like, you know, a lot of these guys who never, you know, like even as organically as it happened. I mean, Mick Foley. Everybody knows Mick Foley.
Everybody.
You know how he got his start? he sent videotapes of him jumping off of his roof in his parents' house
onto a mattress.
onto
really?
a mattress. That's how Mick Foley got his start in wrestling. He sent videos to all these places and then finally was able to get trained in, what was it, Long Island? I forget who he was trained by, but he would make the trip from Long Island to MSG all the time to see wrestling, and then eventually was able to get himself into a school. But Mick Foley started by jumping off of a roof. It organically happened. He was a fan just like me, and that's how he made his name. And then he wrestled over here for a little while, and then went to Japan, where he met Terry Funk of all people. And, that's kind of how Mick's career got made, because him and Terry Funk would go out every night and have barbed wire, thumbtack, flaming table, flaming ring matches in Japan.
And that's where I met all the Funk brothers, all in Dallas, because they have the ranch out there. Dory Funk, Terry Funk,
The double
Jimmy
cross
Funk.
ranch.
But like I said, man, wrestling, people say it's fake. Listen, I'm here, and my son will tell you, when I was 550 pounds, I had no problems. I lost the weight, and from being hit with chairs, thrown through tables. When I was in Dallas, Texas, I did a match with Jeff Jarrett. It was a promptu match, and
Double J.
I didn't know that. Now, see, learning something. That's freaking awesome.
It was like all of us, they were like, "You won the battle royal?" I'm like, "Yeah." They were like, "Get your ass out there," because he was just going after everybody. We ended up in the parking lot, and back then you can go outside. We didn't have guardrails. We had a piece of string going around the crowd, and we ended up in the parking lot. Put me through a car windshield. Don't ask me whose car it was. I have no idea. I never had to pay for it.
You didn't pay for it. Jerry Jarrett paid for it.
And after I lost all the weight, now I got 5 herniated discs, 2 bulging discs, had my shoulder replaced. When they went in to fix my shoulder, my bicep was balled up. They had to stretch that out, put 2 pins in there. So, yeah. So for all you people out there that think that Boss Dog, a.k.a. Big Dog, never lived it, listen. I'm going to tell you again, you don't know me. So, and Scott, I don't mean to put this out there. You want to talk shit about me, please keep talking, because the more you talk, the more I love it. Because until you meet me, and a lot of people met me at different cigar events, at different wrestling events, and I'm the same guy here that I am on the internet, as you call it, whatever you call it.
4x8 screen.
The internet. But people say we can't find matches of you. You know why you can't find them? Because I didn't put them up.
Not only that,
I don't have to put them up. You know why? Because I got DVDs and CDs of it.
I was just going to say, not only that was back when,
Hey, Joey, before you get into it, we got 3 minutes left, okay? Because we're going to continue this over on Instagram, but I just didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
So I'll sign on to my Instagram. You can sign on, and then I'll come on my Instagram with you.
Okay, when this is over and all that.
All right.
Then we'll continue it. But
Cool.
yeah, go ahead. I mean, again, you guys have a lot coming, and I'm very excited. And with, what is it called? Turnbuckles and Stogies?
Yes.
If you guys could talk a little bit about when is it going to come out, how is it going to work, and all that. Because it's going to be Stogies and wrestling, but I'll let you guys do that on our going outtake.
So basically, this should be coming, I'm going to say within the next, I'm going to give it month at most. We're going to sit down, me, myself, my dad, and the OG cigar tender, and we're going to at least get 1 or 2 episodes banged out for you guys. We have a really big first live in-person podcast with quite a few guests. We have one main guest, but we're going to have a cigar guest as well, not only wrestling. I mean, if some of you've paid attention to our Instagrams, you already know who the first guest is going to be for our live show.
It's not my fault.
And I'm just going to tell you, when he comes on, it's not my fault what he says. And for those wrestling fans that are watching,
matter of fact,
you know who I'm talking about. And the cigar guy,
it is going to be his fault. It is going to be his fault this weekend at Major League Wrestling in
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
in Philly at the 2300
He said-
arena.
He said, I hope that you bring all your babies. He goes, but it's not, it's going to be my
It's
fault.
all his fault this weekend. Go
All
check
his
him out.
fault.
Absolutely. Go.
I
go
want
check
everybody to know, and I thank everybody who's gonna be following him. And this is gonna be posted all over, everywhere and all that. First of all, thank you, gentlemen, for coming on because I respect you guys a lot.
Thank
you guys
you
are
for having
awesome,
us.
and I'm excited because to introduce a little bit, I was trying to bring in a little bit on this one because it's important because you guys are yourselves will be coming on to MBR Radio and having your guys' turnbuckles and stogies on here. So I'm kind of, hey, we're bringing you in, and that's what I want to do. Introduce, because we're good friends, everything like that. It's an amazing to get a different story, different angles of wrestling, cigars. There's just so much more out there than just a cigar or one thing at a time. And yes, you're right. You can't judge a book by its cover. First of all, you shouldn't be judging anybody. Just saying. And then on Boss's token, I just got to say, where's the chopper? I'm sorry. I just had to, just a little bit funny, a little comical here, So please check everybody out. Make sure you follow Boss and Joey V, Boss Dog, on Instagram. Okay, so just not only on here, follow them over there, over on Instagram as well. Please follow their. But that's what it's about: having fun, having laughs, and keep it rolling, guys. And keep up your dreams, because that, you know what, you guys are living it. You're doing it. It may not seem like it to everybody else, but you know the truth, and you're doing it.
Thank you.
Thanks, my brother. Appreciate you.
Absolutely, guys, man. Freaking much love. Stay focused, and I hope to see you guys later.
Absolutely.
Love you guys.
Love you too, brother.
Hands off.
Now, how do you sign off this?